What's up, baseball dwellers? It's Jake Salter coming at you for episode 2 of the Cellar Dwellers Sportscast baseball episode. Alongside me, as always, is Mr. Francis Parkman. How you doing, Francis? Quit waving! Why do you do that?
Because it makes you mad.
God, I hate that so bad.
How's it going, everybody? I'm
successfully pushed.
Yep, I did what I wanted. I found the button and I pushed it hard.
It totally worked. and because Jeff sucks and Rob is awesome, Rob Schnitzer makes his podcast debut tonight on the baseball episode. Rob, how are you?
Rob is here. Rob is not coming at you, but tentatively approaching.
Tentatively approaching.
But I am here finally.
Excellent.
Glad to have you.
Absolutely.
Glad to be had.
Absolutely glad to have you. Elite baseball mind, sort of. And we'll kind of get into it a little bit. We'll back off the music just a hair because that was our intro, and I'm going to let it breathe just a little bit.
So for those of you who don't know or have seen our Facebook page, Rob is the one who writes the WWE versus WCW. I guess it would be WWF at the time versus WCW reviews. I want to ask, how did you get started doing that?
I got started doing that pretty much out of sheer boredom and nostalgia. You know, when the WWE Network came around a few years ago, kind of going through the old stuff on there, remembering what I watched in high school and college time. I was like, I never really watched the WCW stuff. I was aware of it, but at that point, I was like, oh, that's where all the old guys are. It was Hogan and Savage
and
at that point.
Ric Flair. Ric Flair was even old in the 90s.
Who I didn't appreciate then as I absolutely do now.
Right.
But so I'm like, I'll go back and see if I would have still, compared them at that time, because there's a lot of back and forth channel switching and people taping one and watching the other live. So I was like, I never got to do that at that time. I'm going to try it out now. And
So on our Facebook page, what is the score currently, if I remember?
It's a good question. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure WWE is behind, or WWF is behind at that point, because from what I remember, is WCW in that time period was brand new as far as Nitro went. WWF and Raw was definitely not what people were into at that point. It hadn't gotten, the Attitude Era hadn't kicked off yet. Stone Cold Steve Austin, was the ringmaster. Nobody gave a crap about it. So
Stone Cold Steve Austin was the ringmaster.
He was the ringmaster for a few months.
Moniker, the ringmaster.
He came in. He was managed by Ted DiBiase. He was using the $1 million. Belt as a thing at that point. It didn't last very long. I think he went up to Vince McMahon and said, hey, I'm not into this. I want to try a different character. He said something, he'd watched the movie, The Iceman, about that Richard Kuklinski. He wanted kind of a stone cold killer, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term.
Worked out pretty well.
And the best part of that story, not to make this overly long, was that he wanted something like a cold killer type name. So the WWF came up with all these ridiculous names, temperature-based, like Chili McFreeze and Ice Dagger. And
that's
Ice
not good.
Dagger.
Ice Dagger.
Come on, Ice Dagger's sweet.
Yeah. Imagine, though, everything exactly the same.
Dagger.
All the same moves, the stunner, the middle fingers, the beer drinking, but his name was Chili McFreeze. Would he be the same? Would it have the same success? Absolutely not.
No.
It's all in the name.
So I found your most recent post that was posted on Monday. Right now you have Nitro ends 1995 with a 13-4 lead over Monday Night Raw.
That sounds about right.
Dang it. That's impressive. I'm markedly older than you, or younger than you, rather. You're older than me. So I never watched wrestling in the 90s. I wasn't really old enough to really know what wrestling was in the 90s. Jake probably was, though.
You see, that's where my wheelhouse was, like the 90s, late 90s, mid 2000s, early 90s and stuff like that too, like the Hulk Hogan stuff and the whole WrestleMania thing between Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and all that fun stuff. That was like my wheelhouse. So, like, reading these things to me is just like pure nostalgia, and I love it, and it's a lot of fun for me to read, and that's kind of what spurred me to ask him to begin with if he wanted to do something like that and get them back out there again, because they're awesome. He just sent them on his personal Facebook page,
and we're like, no, we're gonna put this over here. Yeah. For those of you who are on Facebook, Rob posts them every Monday.
I think it's every other Monday.
Just every other Monday you've been doing? Okay, every other.
I've done them for a few years, so these are kind of banked a little bit, and I like to schedule them to post because I don't always remember either. So this the scheduling option on Facebook is amazing.
It's wonderful.
We don't remember to post things that we should anyway. So
very true. That's very true.
I told everybody in our football podcast that our mock drafts would be posted on Tuesday, and the first two have been posted on Wednesdays. So there's that.
And the backlash was brutal. I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was it really?
Just got reamed by nobody.
Yeah.
Crisis averted.
Right.
It is what it is. But hey, good to have you, Rob. Appreciate you coming out here and spending a night with us and chatting a little bit of baseball. So
yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah. So not a lot for show highlights, which are of course brought to you by Chewbacca, because we don't have an official podcast sponsor for this particular baseball thing that we're trying to do here.
It's called a podcast.
Thanks. Yeah, podcast. That was the word I'm looking
there
for.
You go.
Yeah.
Audio-based recording.
Disclaimer again, we've been drinking beer. This is our second podcast of the night.
Sponsored by alcohol.
Yeah. Also fact. Second podcast of the night. Of course, we do our normal show first, and then we get into this baseball thing. So, show highlights brought to you by Chewbacca. News and notes around Major League Baseball. And, of course, this week, actually, we're going to preview the AL and NL East because we got Rob in studio here.
So we're New York Rob.
Heck yeah,
New York me,
Rob.
Who's lived in Fargo Moorhead for 20 years.
Yes, sir. So a question. How long did you live in New York?
From the time I was born, 1980, until 2002.
Wow, okay. Right on.
You know,
I
give or take a little bit of time for college.
graduated high school in 2002, if that makes you feel any older.
It does.
Perfect. I was a 7th grader. Eighth grader in 2002.
It's funny because my brother was like, "We're the same age." My brother commented on one of your posts. It was pretty funny.
I'm older though by 2 months.
Yeah, well,
don't forget it, little boy.
I just thought it was funny because it was like I've known that like since
a long time.
We've been first started being friends, so it was pretty funny. Anyway, all right. Well, hey, let's get into it. Some news and notes from around Major League Baseball. Starting first and foremost, gives me a sad panda. Astros and pitcher Jake Odorizzi agreed to a 2-year deal on Monday. I was really hoping we'd re-sign him, Francis.
I was too. He would have been. I loved Jake Odorizzi as a Twin. He made an All-Star appearance for us. You know, it is what it is. I think the Twins just decided to go a different way with it, signing Jay Happ.
Yep.
Who's it? Michael Shoemaker was in. I don't believe he's a starter though.
No, they tried him out. I think in spring training as one, but we got Big Mike Pineda. We got
Barrios,
Maeda, maybe Dobnak / Smeltzer.
Yeah. So I guess the writing was on the wall there for an Odorizzi reunion.
Really kind of sucks though. I feel like it could have probably been our 1B.
Yeah.
But I was hoping the Mets were gonna throw out some money at Odorizzi. It didn't happen. I was glad they didn't get to Bauer, though.
You dang near got Bauer.
Oh, I'm glad they didn't.
Really?
I mean,
we'll get into that later.
Yes,
we
will.
We'll get into that later.
Odorizzi would have been fun with the Mets. Though.
I think so.
I think he would have been fun.
I think he would have been.
Mets got Trevor May, so they could have.
You can have him.
No,
I did not like Trevor May.
You didn't like Trevor May?
I was not a fan.
I like that guy. I'm glad you got him, but I'm glad he went to the Mets for your sake. I'm sad he left Minnesota just because he came on in Minnesota. He started to figure it out.
I knew I liked him when he first was signed by the Mets, and I think one of his first posts was about a sandwich he ate in New York. Like he got off the airport, went into a taxi, and said, "Take me to a place that has some good food." And he went to some Italian deli, and he posted about the sandwich he got, and I don't remember what it was now.
He's a big-time online guy. Big-time online guy, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching the press conference, I think, that he gave. Nate constantly went on and on about his, YouTubing and
he's a Twitcher.
Twitch. Yep. He's a very.
I'm 40. I don't know the difference.
He's a very fan-oriented guy, and it's cool, especially in this day and age. Indians players Franmil Reyes and Jose Ramirez were actually sent home during spring training last Saturday for eating inside a restaurant after their Friday game. Reyes also broke protocol in 2020. Both players are back with the team. Do you have any thoughts on that, Francis?
Oh my! I mean, if you remember that last season, the Indians players breaking protocol, Reyes, Mike Clevenger,
Yep. That was
and I can't remember the other pitcher that.
Was it No, it wasn't Carrasco. No.
But yeah, they broke protocol,
One,
and
right?
Reyes even swore he would never do it again. Like he learned his lesson. Well, he couldn't even get to the regular season, and he did it again.
I need to know what restaurant he went to.
Right,
I want to know what he ate that made it worth it.
Right. I mean, because we're a freaking year into this pandemic.
Yeah.
Like at some point, and you know that professional sports leagues are going to be super strict with their protocols, and if you can be at work because it is their job,
Yep.
you go and do it. And like dumb, just don't be dumb. Yeah. Or actually, you know what? You play for the Indians, do be dumb. I don't care.
We don't care.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, depending on what he ate, I might be able to.
Better like some like really good Cuban. Well, no, I think the Indians are in Arizona.
Gold-plated steak or something.
Yeah, some like really
Gold
good like
leaf steak.
like Mexican food
I've seen
or something.
I've seen some food where I'd take a
health risk.
suspension for my job
Right.
for hey, go home and think about what you
Right.
did. Like, you know what? That
Tell
was
you
worth
what,
it.
I'll never turn down a ribeye steak.
No, sir.
Then again, I could also have it delivered if it was that big a.
Fair point.
That's fair.
So,
But you're not a millionaire thinking you can do whatever you want.
That's
Right.
also true.
agreed.
Ichiro Suzuki back on the field on Sunday in a simulated game for the Mariners. I saw a little bit of that tape, and I saw him in the cage as well. I know he's doing it just for fun, but
Right.
boys, he could probably
still
still play.
Yep.
Yeah.
He-
Thoughts, Rob?
I agree.
Yeah,
No extra
he
thoughts.
looked
I mean,
looked good. He looked good.
Who doesn't
He
love
looked
that guy?
He's got such a great natural swing. I'm jealous of it, obviously, but like 47 years old, still doing it.
Mike Cameron was actually in that simulated game as
I
well.
heard that they had 2/3 of the Mariners, like 2,000 something
The
outfield.
2001 116 win outfield was playing in that simulated game for the Mariners.
And I have a soft spot for Mike Cameron. I remember him on the Mets colliding in the outfield with Carlos Beltran. And,
Ouch.
face to face.
I'd forgotten
Head
about
to
that.
face. And he was gone for the rest of the year. He had surgery on his face after
Woof.
that.
Jeez.
Not good.
Respect for that. But that's one of the most. That's I think the most brutal baseball-related injury I've seen. Like
Yeah.
watching it because I was watching it as it happened.
Those aren't good.
Nope.
Speaking of the Mets, outfielder Jose Martinez tore meniscus in his left knee, is out for 4 months. Rob, did you see that at all?
I looked at the play after I saw the headline about that happening, and that umpire should have gotten out of the way.
Yeah.
Collided with. But I mean,
So what did happen on that play? Because I didn't see it.
I think the ball was hit kind of past the first base, and he was running towards
Okay.
the line to either attempt to field it or back up something. I'm not
Sure.
sure exactly what happened there, but he collided with the umpire, or is trying to avoid the umpire who's standing like right there,
Sure.
not making any attempt to get out of the way of the play. And,
Fatality.
yes, exactly. Finish him.
Dark.
I got that too.
Finish him.
There we go. You don't need me in here. I should just go.
no, please stay.
No, absolutely stay.
Better than having Jeff.
Nailed it. Oh!
Then now you need the babality for that one.
You're fired.
How about you're fired? Wait,
Who's your daddy?
oh, that was rude.
Yeah,
Oh my
it
god.
didn't look like the greatest thing to have happen to your knee, but I know at the time they were cautious but optimistic that he was going to
Sure.
return, and then, of course, the next day, nope, out for 4 months.
4 months is a big deal. Rob, what was the one that you sent me today? You'd sent me. Oh, it was Carrasco.
Oh, yeah, I saw, I'm driving, I get, bling on my phone, so, I get up to a red light, and I take a glance down, and I see Carlos Carrasco has, was it shoulder surgery? Elbow. Or not surgery, soreness, elbow soreness.
Elbow soreness. Yep.
I'm like, oh, great, so I'm sure they'll say, yeah, he'll be fine, and then, they'll announce tomorrow he's going to have an amputation or something. Because that's the Mets way. Even with some rich new owner, some things don't change.
Well, I mean, you got Jose or
Not Jose Reyes.
Yeah, no. I keep thinking Jose. I loved Jose Reyes. Francisco Lindor. That's the guy I'm thinking
Lindor, Mr. Smile.
of. Mr. Smile.
Sounds like a Bond villain, but
And then the last note, but not least, of course, the Texas Rangers stated on Wednesday that they will start their season at 100% capacity for their home games. As we all know, that the governor of Texas has opened all businesses up, regardless of what's going on, released the mask mandate, and all businesses 100% open, which includes the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
Hashtag yikes.
Love to get your thoughts on that. Let's start with Rob.
I think I just gave them to you. Yeah. I know it doesn't affect me personally, but I don't know. I can't get behind that idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice to see fans there, but
my thing is, whether I agree with it or not, I'm pretty jealous of all the Texas Rangers fans that get to go to the game.
Agreed there.
Because Twins won't have any anytime soon.
I'm up both of your alleys on this one. I'm just like, yikes, number one, like Rob said. And I'm also super jealous because we all want normalcy across the board.
Yep.
I didn't get to go to a Vikings game last year. I didn't get to go to a Twins game last year. I didn't go to a hockey game last year. Like, I was planning on going to a Loons game, which is the soccer team in Minnesota. Like, I just want normal.
Not even just sports. I mean, just anything.
Man.
I had tickets to see Bert Kreischer, and that got postponed and canceled.
Yes. That would have been fun.
That would have been sick, man.
Neat.
Where was that at?
Here, the Civic
Center.
Really?
Here? Fargo Civic Center,
I had fourth row tickets. Like, I went all out on it because it was far enough in advance. I'm like, I can justify spending a little bit of money.
It's coming back though, right? You get to go to that.
As far as I know, they can't. They just flat out canceled it because it was originally supposed to be in May of last year. Then they postponed it to December, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, oh, he's going to come here in the worst
winter
possible time, and then they just canceled it about a month before it was supposed to happen, which I got my money back, I guess. But yeah, I was looking forward to it.
I just want to go to a sporting
go
event.
to something.
But
I'd rather also, the sooner everybody pays attention to what the rules are, the quicker we can actually get back to normal.
No, I agree. One other thing here, two other things, sorry. I just saw come across. Joey Votto, Cincinnati Reds, tested positive for COVID-19. I'm sure he'll be fine. And the Marlins to use a drone disinfectant program to clean their ballpark. So
see if it works.
We'll see if it works, and I'm sure
if it works, I
want to see a video of that happening.
Florida will probably be the next Texas when it comes to opening up ballparks.
I would be,
Which is sort of weird because they got Tropicana Field, which is all indoors. At least Arlington's outside, right?
Arlington has the retractable roof.
Do they have retractable?
Yep, like Marlins Park does.
Oh, you're right. Yep, sure.
Yep. You were thinking of the ballpark at Arlington was all outdoors.
Maybe that's it. Yeah,
they don't play there anymore.
They put the retractable roof on because teams could not handle the late August/September heat in Texas.
Not even the Rangers.
Yeah, where the on-field temperature was like 118 degrees.
That's too much.
Yeah. That's
way too much.
Asking too much there.
All right. Well, again, for today's show, like we said, we're going to preview the AL and NL East. So we'll start in it with the AL East. I'm going to back off the music and maybe try to find something else here. How do you guys feel about jazz? We like jazz?
Do it.
I have no preference.
We're going to do some jazz. Why not? All right. So AL East preview. We'll start with the AL East champions. Tampa Bay Rays, 40-20 last year, had some key additions come in. We have starting pitcher Chris Archer.
Back with the Tampa Bay Rays. That's
yes,
where he
sir.
started his career.
Former Cardinal Michael Wacha coming in as a pitcher. Re-signed Mike Zunino, catcher, and picked up former Twin starting pitcher Rich Hill.
Is he a former Twin if he only pitched like a game and a half?
Still a former Twin.
Fine.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying former Cardinal for Michael Wacha.
Hey,
he
you're
played
welcome.
for the Mets last year, and it did not go well.
It did not go.
It's because we don't really remember what happened in New York last year.
Let's just say 2020 didn't happen at all. Let's just pretend that last year didn't happen.
So Tampa Bay Rays, any thoughts on them? I know that. Go ahead, Francis.
I mean, not much. I mean, they're the Rays. They didn't make any splashy moves because the Rays never make any splashy moves, but they did enough to be, they're going to be competitive in the AL East again with the Yankees and the Blue Jays. What I remember from the 2020 A's, or Rays. We'll get to the A's next week. The Rays they just had fireballers on the mound. Just everybody could throw 95 plus. Jake, sorry, we're having an internal conversation in here. But yeah, I expect the Rays to compete. Possibly make a return trip to the playoffs. Either I'll give them the wild card for sure. I would say. Any thoughts on the Tampa Bay Rays?
I agree with the logic, but I just don't know if I see it happening as far as repeating with they'll have fewer playoff spots to go around.
Yep.
Than last year,
because they did go back to the regular playoff format.
Yep. Right.
Well, full season, so
Rays are still good offensively. That bullpen's going to be solid again. Starting pitching, I don't know if I see it, but they got the Yankees that are going to be tough. The Blue Jays have improved a lot.
Yeah.
I think the Blue Jays are going to at least take over for the Rays spot. It's going to be between the Jays and the Yankees. But I mean, the Rays aren't going to be bad. But
no, they won't be bad, but they won't be up the alley as they were in
last
the past.
year, yeah.
Exactly.
Longer season, fewer spots. I don't see them making it all the way to the end.
Right.
Sure.
No, I agree. Starting pitching is actually kind of an issue, I think, for them. I mean, granted, they have Archer and Waka, but Hill's kind of a liability in
Waka's
my opinion.
done.
You think Waka's done, too?
Yeah.
Waka's done.
And I mean, they traded Blake Snell.
They do.
I did forget they traded Blake Snell to the Padres.
Yep.
Okay.
Which good for the Padres, really.
Yeah, I take it back. Rays are going to finish in third place and not have a playoff spot.
I think pitching period is going to be the downfall of the Rays. I mean, if you look at their offense, they still have Kiermaier in center.
Yep.
Pretty damn good there. They still have Zunino at DH / I think catcher.
Yep. Randy Arozarena, the hero of the playoffs for him. He's still there.
That dude is fast, dude.
Yeah. Their shortstop, Willie Adames, he had a pretty good year, especially in the playoffs. There was another guy. I'm pulling these off the top of my head, just watching like the World Series in the ALCS.
Mm-hmm.
They had one other guy, and I can't think of the name, but he's supposed to be one of their better players in the field, and he actually had a really poor postseason. And
at the plate?
At the plate, yes. And the name escapes me.
You might be talking about Manuel Margot?
He had a pretty good year, pretty good postseason, I feel.
I think he did. They still got what's his name? Shortstop. Michael Brousseau.
That might be it. I think it was Nate Lowe.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
okay.
he was the guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy. Anyway, yeah, I just think you give up a Cy Young candidate, you lose a lot in the pitching department. So I take back what I said that the Rays will be in contention in the playoffs. I think they'll be just outside. They can draft and they can grow their prospects, but they missed their chance at the World Series, so now they're going to start over.
Yeah, they'll contend early, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then they'll fade.
But like I said, I think starting pitchings are going to be their downfall.
Yep.
Personally, I would like to see them repeat
back in the playoffs. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not
hoping
repeat
for
as,
it, but not expecting it.
Not repeat as AL champions.
No.
That's a team in the AL Central going to do that.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Moving on, New York Yankees. 2020. Yeah, boo.
Keep talking.
You ever been to a Yankees game, Rob?
I have. I went to a Yankees game in, I want to say, 2005.
Okay.
They won. They beat the Royals.
Shocker.
I don't know if I remember anything other than, I was going to say, who was the pitcher for the Yankees? Was it Jose Contreras? Wow.
Okay.
That's a name that brings you back a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
They have a
name drop of the week for Rob.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I just
are we
pulled that
giving it
one
to
out
him?
of my...
Let's give it to him.
Yeah, we'll give it to him.
But, yeah, the stadium they had then, original Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
Was
built in the 20s,
Right.
1920s, not 20s.
nice place, but yeah, very. I don't know. It didn't seem like it's not like people go there to have fun. It's a social event.
Right.
It's kind of businessmen do business there, and
Yep.
you'd expect they do. And it was fine.
Well,
I
I'm a little
enjoyed
jealous,
myself.
actually. I wouldn't mind have gone to the original Yankee Stadium just for baseball nostalgia's sake.
I could live without it.
Really?
Can't stand the Yankees.
Wow, I can't either, but it would have been fun to watch the Yankees play the Twins there.
Terrible people.
All right, fine.
Yankees fans.
New York Yankees.
Not New Yorkers, Yankees fans.
New York Yankees 2020 had 33-27. They were the playoff AQ there, which is the automatic qualifier.
Yep.
Key additions: they re-signed DJ LeMahieu, second baseman. They also re-signed left fielder Brett Gardner and Corey Kluber,
Former Cy Young winner with the Cleveland
Indians. Yes, sir. I hate the Yankees. Can't stand them. They will contend for the AL East this year again, unfortunately, just because they're doing the whole.
They're the Yankees, yeah.
Yankees,
Yep.
they make it rain, right?
They pay that luxury tax with a smile on their face.
Your thoughts on the Yankees, Francis?
What's to really say? Their biggest hurdle is health. Judge getting hurt, Stanton getting hurt big time. I think even Gary Sanchez was hurt for a while. He's their second baseman, correct, or their catcher?
Gary Sanchez is a catcher.
Is the catcher.
Right? Yeah, catcher.
Gleyber Torres, that's the one. He was hurt for a while last year. So the only thing standing in the way of the Yankees is their health, in my
They
opinion.
can stay out of their own way, then.
Yep, pretty much.
Go ahead,
They'll
Rob.
be
What do you
fine.
got?
Yeah, they'll be fine. They're going to get to the playoffs one way or the other, I'm sure.
It would be.
That ballpark, they just bring in guys who can hit for power that are made for that ballpark,
Yep.
and they take advantage
Oh
of it.
yeah, because what the right field corner is what, like 314 or something like that, some really small number out in right field.
I don't know the number, but yeah, it's like a pop fly goes out of there.
Yep.
It's really ridiculous. Like, you or I, Francis, could probably hit one out of Yankee
You
Stadium.
get one up in the air in the wind, it's gonna go out.
I've had exactly 2 home runs in my entire softball life.
And one of them was definitely with the
more than
wind,
me.
and I called it.
Hardcore with the wind.
And I called
You
it.
did call it, yes, sir. For me, the Yankees, they got offense for sure, and they have it to spare. I think, to be honest, like they have an overabundance of offense. And even last season, they had, with Torres and Sanchez, they actually had some subpar seasons, and we had Judge and Stanton missing injury time and things like that. But I think they'll be probably one of the highest, if not the highest scoring team in 2021.
They usually are.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I mean, looking at it too, I'm just pulling up some win total projection odds too here. Actually, let's start off with the World Series odds. They have them at plus 550, which isn't terrible.
Sure.
Looking at their 2021 projection, they're looking to go about 92-70 this year. I honestly think that's a little bit heavy. I think maybe I give it like a plus minus 4 games there, to be honest with you. But
Yeah. And like I said, it all goes back to health. If
Right,
Stanton and
right.
Judge are healthy, and Sanchez and Torres are healthy, they're going to be fine.
And they had actually kind of a mediocre, weird offseason. Like they didn't really do a whole lot. Like we said, they re-signed LeMahieu, they re-signed Gardner, they got Corey Kluber,
They
which
were just waiting on LeMahieu so they could kind of determine what to do
what
with the rest
their
of their
course of action.
but they cut approximately by the looks of it here $50 million off their payroll and got under that 210 luxury tax threshold.
Sure.
Yeah. And their biggest signing, honestly, in my opinion, was DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
So they spread the money out a little bit in pitching, and it's largely the same team from 2020 to 2021. So
Right.
I think they're probably looking at maybe like, hey, maybe these guys matured a little bit. Let's move forward with them.
Real quick, what did I say the right field corner was? Like
314, I think you said.
Oh, well, I nailed it. It's 314.
14.
Holy crap! Nicely
Winner,
done.
winner, chicken dinner. I'm going home.
All right, bye.
Wait, no, I got pizza here. I'm eating that pizza.
I think the projections for the Yankees win totals might be pretty much on point as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I was thinking.
Consider that most teams will play the majority of their games against their in-division opponents. So
Yep.
how many of those games are going to be against the
Against the
Orioles,
Orioles.
and the Red Sox?
Yep.
And they're both those teams I think are just going to be awful.
What is it? 18 games against each division in a 162 game season.
I don't know the exact numbers. But
I think that's what it is. 18 games against the Orioles. How many times do you think the Orioles are going to win? 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might.
Maybe.
Yeah. The Red Sox are going to be bad. How many times in 18 do you think the Red Sox are going to win 18? 7? Because because it's Red Sox Yankees.
If they can beat up on those teams when they're already weak,
yep,
and just dominate them instead of
they'll reach 100,
taking it easy, expecting to win, then I think they're going to get over 90 wins.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's move on. Toronto Blue Jays 2020 had a 32-28 record. They were second AL wild card, which no longer exists.
Still does exist because
because
still 2 wild
there's
card
still 2
teams.
wild cards. There's just not the
playoff AQs.
Thank you. Yep.
Yep.
Key additions: George Springer. Boo.
Also
Nope.
boo.
I wonder if his trash cans had to get passports.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe Toronto provides them now. Who knows? Shortstop Marcus Semien and starting pitcher Robbie Ray, who they re-signed. Coming off what I guess I would consider a resurgent season. And they had a pretty active winter, signing Springer, boo. Semien, Steven Matz, if anybody remembers him.
Yes, I remember him quite
He was a
well.
Met.
I bet you do.
Yes,
Yeah.
He was a Met.
He was a Long Island guy, too. He went to school on Long Island. Him and Marcus Stroman actually faced off against each other in high school.
Holy crap, for real?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, and I guess they both just dominated the game, against each other, just both throwing, great games. I'm not going to say they were both throwing no-hitters or whatever, but it was what you would expect.
Right.
They were both studs in high school.
Right. Yeah, I like the Blue Jays. I mean, they got a lot of good young pieces.
Yeah.
Vlad Jr.,
Bo Bichette.
Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, son of Astros.
Yeah.
Boo.
Boo.
Craig. He wasn't part of that. I'm not gonna boo
fine.
Craig Biggio.
Yeah, Craig Biggio's fine.
But they
Vlad
have a
Guerrero Jr. Did you say that?
Yep, Vlad Jr.
Sorry, I was asking my wife to start up the oven for the pizza.
Hyun-Jin Ryu, I think that's how you say his name, the pitcher. I like the Blue Jays. I think they'll be the ones that contend with the Yankees for the AL East. Yeah, but Blue Jays are going to have to grow up fast if they want that AL East title for sure.
Yeah, I agree. They actually kind of have some high expectations going into 2021.
They do. I'm not rooting for those expectations to come to fruition, but
yeah. Some win total projections I've seen. One of them I thought was appropriate was 85 and 77. With a team that young, I tend to agree with that a little bit. Their World Series odds are at a plus 2,200. I don't know.
That's the youth factor, I think.
It is, and I think a lot of that can flip too if that youth matures faster than we all think it might.
Vlad Jr. Really went a long ways into doing that.
Yeah,
because he shed 30 pounds this offseason?
Something like that. Yeah, it was nuts.
Quit eating grandma's cooking.
The best cooking in the world.
That is the best cooking in the world.
Yes, sir. All right. Anything else on the Blue Jays? Should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right, Toronto Blue Jays. Next up, we have the Baltimore Orioles. Not a good team. 2020, they were 25 and 35. A couple of weird key additions, I guess you could call it. Freddie Galvis, shortstop, and Felix Hernandez.
Still around.
Still around. Starting pitcher.
I was wondering if he was still around.
Yes,
he was actually with the
update.
Braves last year in the Braves organization.
He didn't pitch in a major league game though.
I don't believe he did. No.
I think I heard that he was in their spring training facility
Yep.
or whatever, and then I think once COVID happened, he was just out there.
Yeah. I actually saw a graphic on Facebook. It was percentage chance of each MLB team to make the playoffs, and the Baltimore Orioles had a 0.0% chance of making the playoffs. So.
That seems accurate.
Yeah. Let's not waste our time.
No, we won't. And I just quickly want to say about the Baltimore Orioles, and I don't know where that music is coming from or whatever else. They are definitely in a big-time rebuild, and I wouldn't count on them making the playoffs for probably the next 3 to 5 years.
That sounds
If
right.
you're going to rebuild, don't you have to actually build? Though?
That's a fair point.
Although,
Yes, sir.
bright spot, Trey Mancini is back after beating cancer.
That is fair.
So good for you, Trey Mancini. I will watch the first game the Twins play against you just to watch you play, bud.
Yeah, that's big time. Moving on, Boston Red Sox 2020 had a 24-36 record.
They were so bad.
They were not good.
They're going to be worse than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Key additions, former Twin utility man Marwin Gonzalez, starting pitcher Garrett Richards, and outfielder Danny Santana, which I believe is also a former
Danny
Twin.
Santana.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. Anything on the Red Sox, Francis?
They're going to be bad again?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I got. I mean, it's weird to see the Boston Red Sox be bad. Because I don't think in my lifetime of following baseball, Boston has ever been anything less than a playoff contender. So
There was that year Bobby Valentine managed them, I think, and
Yeah, that wasn't good.
did not go well. But
wait, he managed what team? Because I feel like he managed a lot of bad teams.
yeah, that would be the Boston Red Sox. I think was it the first year after Francona stepped down or whatever happened with him?
Oh, sure. Yeah, after he went, I think they let him go, and then he went to Cleveland.
There was a weird thing. I think I remember. I mean, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember some sort of news about Valentine had lost the clubhouse, or was that before he? Wasn't there one of the pitchers had wanted to eat chicken
they
dinner
had
or
chicken.
something?
Oh, the wild card.
No,
Sorry.
we don't want that. That's a power play goal.
What? No, we don't want that.
Sorry.
Son of a bitch.
Sorry, Rob. Settle down. So the Wild are
But
on
it was Kaprizov.
the Wild are on pace for the worst power play percentage in NHL history, and scoring that goal just increased their power play percentage, and I don't like it. I think it was Bukestad. No, it was Kaprizov.
Definitely
on the
Kaprizov on the
All right,
backhander.
back to baseball.
Yeah, back to it. Sorry. Yeah. Boston Red Sox.
Do you remember that chicken dinner?
Yeah,
scenario?
no, I
Or-
totally do.
I don't even remember who it was. I know it was a
chicken
pitcher.
in the
Yeah,
clubhouse.
somebody had an issue with that.
No,
Was that Valentine?
John Farrell.
Yes.
Yeah,
John
okay,
Farrell.
So I'm mixing up my managers.
Yep,
Regardless, Valentine was still bad with them.
Yeah, it was
I liked
John
him as a
Farrell.
Mets manager, but guys with that type of personality, it's like you have to have the right team.
Well, let's not
Right.
forget here they traded Mookie Betts after the 2019 offseason.
Let Jackie Bradley Jr. walk.
Yep. They also got lumped into that sign stealing scandal with Houston a little bit. So Alex Cora was fired because of it. And they were just bad in 2020. They dropped to 6-18 after a 9-game losing streak.
They
And
weren't
then-
good in 2019
And
either.
then they rehired Alex Cora. But the weird thing about the terrible Boston Red Sox from last year is that they could actually hit the ball. They actually led the American League with a .265 average.
Huh.
Isn't that weird?
All right.
So it must have been defense, right? They actually
pitching
went
and defense, yeah.
pitching and defense. So after the 6-18 start, they actually went 18-18 the rest of the way. And in a full season, who really knows what happens? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It was such a weird season last year. So you have your ebbs and flows in the 162. So who knows what would have happened? But that's enough on the Red Sox because they sucked last year. So we're going to get into our 2021 division champ predictions. Let's start with Francis. Who do you got for the AL East?
I'm taking the experience with the Yankees. I don't like it, but there's nobody in this division. I mean, the Blue Jays, I don't know if that youth is... Those young guys are ready to mature and win a division just
Sure.
yet.
Fair enough. Jeff, I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I'm so
That's
sorry.
like
that
the,
hurts.
that's like
That
the
hurts,
meanest thing you could ever call
Hold on.
somebody.
I gotta apologize correctly here. Hold on.
Woo!
Is that better? Is that a good apology?
That works.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Rob. Who do you got for 2021 division champion AL East?
I will agree with that and say the New York Yankees will edge out Toronto and Tampa Bay.
I'm gonna
Not
go.
All right, Jeff.
like it, but-
I'm sorry, Jake.
Rude. Love you, Jeff. I'm gonna go with youth. I'm gonna take the Blue
Take the
Jays.
Blue Jays,
Yeah,
huh?
I think they're just young enough and dumb enough to not understand what the hell's going on. They're gonna swing away, and I think they're gonna win. Why not?
Yeah,
Screw
I
it.
mean,
Let's get them in there.
That taste of the postseason in 2020 may have been the kickstart they need.
And here's the thing: if they don't win the division, they'll get a wild card, and they'll do some damage in the postseason regardless. But I want them to win the AL East, so I'm going to take them.
All right.
I do not like George Springer. That's the only person I don't like.
We don't have Jeff's pick because we forgot, and he's too good to be with us
Yeah.
tonight. So
Whatever, Jeff.
yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff.
Let's do the NL East.
Yeah.
My name is Jeff. I fart in your general direction.
Yeah, Jeff. All right, let's go to the NL East. This one, Rob is probably really interested in.
I have some thoughts.
Cool.
All right.
We'll start with the Atlanta Braves, though. In 2020, they were 35-25. They were the NL East champions. They re-signed Marcell Ozuna, outfielder, and brought on pitcher Charlie Morton and Drew Smyly. Atlanta Braves. Anybody got an opinion?
They're going to remain good.
Yep, they're going to be good. They'll be right up there at the top of the division, near the top.
Until they show that they are not as good as they've been, then you have to kind of assume they're going to continue to
They didn't
keep doing what they're doing.
Nothing happened that made their team worse.
Exactly.
In my opinion. So they'll be right up there. I don't have much more to say on them.
I don't either. I think they'll be good. I think their starting rotation will exceed expectations. I don't know. There's not a lot I don't like about Atlanta. Sorry, Rob.
No, I understand. Hey, I'm not on the team. You don't have to apologize to me.
I mean, I think they still have that classic, like, 90s Atlanta can't get over the hump type of team. You know,
Once they enter the playoffs, yes.
right,
I
yeah.
agree with
Once they enter the playoffs, I believe there were a few years since Acuna and Ozzy Albies joined the team that they had that chance. Oh, they were in the NLCS last year.
They were up 3-1, weren't
Yep,
they?
against the Dodgers, and
Oh, yeah.
and they blew it. So
That's right.
they'll be back. They'll be back for sure.
Not much else to say about the Braves. We'll move on to the Miami Marlins. 31-29. They were the playoff AQ last year. Key additions, we have right fielder Adam Duvall, right-handed pitcher Anthony Bass, and also right-handed pitcher Ross Detweiler. The Marlins.
Those are relief pitchers. RP relief pitcher.
Sorry. Relief pitcher. No. Beer.
Beer.
Regardless, though, the Marlins were a pretty decent team. I thought they actually had a really good chance of winning the NL East last year. And you're using that sweet drone disinfectant program.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got to be a leader in something, right?
That's the real MVP.
And none of their fans will actually watch them.
Oh, all 6 of them?
They have 6?
I think they have 6.
Oh,
Wait, are we talking about the Marlins or the Rays? I haven't figured out which team we're talking about
One
yet.
and the same.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, the Rays in 2008 went to the World Series and they still couldn't sell out their stadium in the playoffs.
Got him!
At
brutal.
At least the Marlins could sell out their stadium when they were good. Could sell seats.
Originally, I agree with that until they realized that their owner was just going to, whoever was at the time.
Yeah, was just gonna
every time
gut the
they
team.
win the World Series, okay, time to break them up. We achieved what we wanted to do.
It's like, well,
Yeah.
why,
Get invested in these people and these players because they're going to.
why,
never gonna keep them.
why wouldn't you do it again?
Do you guys think that maybe they should have kept the playoffs expanded, or do you like it going back to normal?
I like it going back to normal personally.
I
didn't think the Marlins were good enough to be a playoff team last year, even though they were there.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it going back to normal.
How many of you were nervous that the Astros weren't going to advance once they made it to the playoffs, even though did they even finish 500?
No, they didn't, and they beat the Twins 2 games to
Yeah.
none.
They did.
So yeah, I was nervous.
There's your reason right there for why I am not in favor of the expanded. I mean, it was nice for last year. Of course, it didn't
Right,
benefit
sure.
my stupid team, but for what happened last year, I was fine with it. I didn't want it to continue.
Marlins did exercise a contract option on outfielder Starling Marte, if you guys remember. Brian Anderson also back, led the team with 11 home runs last year in a 60-game season, and shortstop Miguel Rojas. Ooh!
back to baseball.
Sorry. You'll
Sports
Erickson
things
Eck
happen.
with the second of the game. But yeah, Marlins will not make the playoffs. They will finish probably lower than I think last year, to be honest with you.
Finish
But-
below 500.
I will venture to say they'll finish last.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
That-
I'd agree with that.
I'm on board with that. I could see that happen.
I'm not
Sure.
saying I would want it to happen, but that's what I'm expecting.
You do want that to happen. Come
not
on,
gonna
Mets.
At
complain.
least
if it
it's
did.
not the Mets.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'd want the Phillies to come in last. Come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fair. That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Which is
got
all
you.
I don't. I mean, hey, that would be the other option. I think the other three teams are going to battle it out, but
Sure.
we'll get to that.
All right. Well, hey, on to the hated Philadelphia Phillies, right?
Yeah.
2020, they were 28-32. They re-signed JT Realmuto, catcher. Also re-signed Didi Gregorius at shortstop, and signed relief pitcher Archie Bradley. I want to get Rob's take here on the Phillies because he loves them so much.
They're my favorite.
I knew it.
I better say that, or they'll throw batteries
like,
at me.
like liver,
Throw batteries.
like liverwurst. I love it like liverwurst.
Boo me like I'm Santa Claus.
Oh,
What can you say
Philly.
about 'em? They'll be fine. I mean, like the Yankees, they play in that Little League stadium, and they'll knock those home runs over the wall with their pop flies. Like, you know,
I think what's it? Harper's been there 2 full seasons. Well, I guess we'll call it 2 full seasons, and they have not made the playoffs yet with Bryce Harper. So
those are clown results, bro. Come on.
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, those are rookie numbers. You gotta pump those numbers up.
Don't you love how the moment Harper leaves, Washington becomes good?
Yeah, it was
Right.
awesome, especially when they beat the Astros. That was so
I'm
fantastic.
really not going to lie. I'm not a huge Bryce Harper fan at all.
I don't think it's a secret that I'm not either.
No?
I wanted to be.
Definitely not a secret.
I wanted to enjoy him because I knew he was a stud prospect. He came up. He displayed the numbers that you thought he was going to display, and then he opened his mouth, and then things
yeah,
happened.
that'll happen.
And
Ruined
I'm not
it
saying
all.
guys should never show any emotion or give an opinion, but it doesn't mean I have to like what they say.
Right,
Fair.
right. And I'm gonna come. We're gonna circle back to that because I don't have anything to add on the Phillies. I think they'll be right there, middle of the pack in the NL East. Jake, do you have anything to add on the Phillies?
I mean, not really. I think they'll finish maybe closer to the top than people realize. I mean, Bryce Harper sucks, but he's still a good ball player.
He could break out at any time.
He could, yeah. And they still have Rhys Hoskins, and with the re-signing of
Hoskins is
Realmuto, they don't really have any issues scoring any runs. They actually ranked 4th last year in the NL with 306.
I'd be interested in seeing the breakdown of the home and away numbers, which I have not
Right.
admittedly looked
But
at.
even
Right.
still, 306 runs is pretty impressive for a 60-game
Right.
season, if you think about it. Like, that's kind of nuts. But the problem is, and still is, with the pitching staff, middling at best, 14th in the National League with an ERA of 5.14 and allowed 311 runs. So,
Wheeler
But-
was decent in his first year with them, though, wasn't
Yeah, he should have been more decent with the Twins.
It's one guy I
but
wish the Mets had kept.
I was hoping he was going to sign with the Twins. I really felt we were going to sign him and make a real push to the World
He
Series,
would have
but
been good with the Twins.
but instead we only got Maeda.
only.
Only we could have had both.
Weird question. Over-under on the Phillies win total, 80.5. What do you think?
80.5.
That's what Vegas has it. 80.5 over-under for
500 team or not, basically, is what you're asking.
pretty much.
Yeah,
I'm going to say under, but not by much.
I'm with Rob on this. I just
Like
looking.
79, 70, in that 77 to 79 range.
I was thinking 77 just because, I mean, the Mets improved a bunch. I think the Nationals will be back, this year being competing, and we'll talk about the Nats later, but I mean, the Braves are still there. The Braves are still going to be really good.
Yeah, the Phillies will have to play these teams that we are expecting.
Yes.
will probably most of us think will be better than them, so you're going to have to get those losses
Yep.
counted.
And have to sweep the Marlins to be right there. But yeah, I would put it 77 wins for the Phillies.
They won't be a bad team, but they'll be right there, kind of in the middle of the road.
I am hammering the under on this one.
Hammering, huh?
Yeah, hammering the under. I don't think they get above 75.
What kind of hammer are you using?
Ball peen.
Okay.
Yep.
I didn't even know you knew what a ball peen hammer was.
Really?
I'm glad you didn't ask me because I didn't like hammer. What kind of hammer?
Normal.
Yes,
I've
tool.
I've seen
MC.
I've seen Jake try to do construction or
Oh,
like
it's
carpentry
bad.
work.
It's not good.
Yo hammer, don't hurt him.
Yeah, it's not good.
You don't want none of that. None of that. All right, couple teams left. One of them is the New York Mets.
Do we know anybody
The
who
Mets?
likes the Mets?
No, not at all.
No?
Nobody?
Moving on to
Yeah, we'll go to the Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
The Mets in 2020 were 26-34. Key additions: shortstop Francisco Lindor from the Indians.
Thank
and
you, Mets.
Also, starting pitcher Carlos
you, Cleveland.
Carrasco. Catcher James McCann. Starting pitcher Taijuan Walker. Right, relief pitcher Trevor May.
I
Oh, come on! I like Trevor May.
did not care for him.
And then outfielders Kevin Pillar and Jonathan Villar. Side note, the Wild have just scored again. I know you don't care, but hey, I like it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Carson
back to baseball.
Soucy. Sorry, back to baseball. So the New York Mets, 26-34. Rob, your team, what do you
Take it
think of your
away.
Mets, bro?
I'm going to say right off the bat that if they want to compete the way I think they can and the way a lot of people are expecting them to, they need their defense to really step it up.
Yeah.
Because they have been one of the worst for years. I mean, admittedly, a lot of their previous general managers have said, we just want bats and pitching.
Right.
Defense we'll worry about. And then they went out and displayed how brutal their team was defensively.
Lindor and Pilar will help with that.
Just going to say that. Yeah, for sure.
If they can do that and stay healthy, I think they're going to either meet or exceed the expectations. If not, if the injuries start racking up, as they tend to do, and if the defense doesn't hold it together, which so far in this spring training it is not holding it together.
I wouldn't put too much stock in spring training, bro.
It's practice.
Yeah, it really is.
So
And
just
Talking about practice.
talking about practice.
practice.
I'm just going to say, though, they need to make sure that those mental mistakes, the little drop fly balls, whatever, that stuff doesn't hurt them. And they need to knock that out.
Right.
Then they'll be fine.
Yeah, I like the Mets. The Mets are my second favorite team.
Same.
Just before I even met you,
You're welcome.
I was always a huge fan of David Wright.
Well, they're going to say David Cohn for a name
No,
drop.
no. David Wright and Jose Reyes were always some of my favorite. Carlos Delgado when he was a Met. I enjoyed those Mets teams.
Guys filled with class. I mean, until Reyes decided to smack his wife around.
Yeah,
Yeah, right, yeah.
Piazza, was always fun to watch. So,
Rooting from Harden, that Subway series, by the way.
yep. Large time. Yeah. If everything goes well, and they're coached better, not making those. I don't want to say it this way, but I'm gonna. Don't make those New York Mets mistakes that they make in the field.
They're going to happen, but
I mean, if they can reduce them, by half, we'll
reduce
say.
them and have the these managers, and it's not just the Mets, but these guys need to start knowing when to put in certain relievers and when not to.
Sure.
It's just historically, it's like, why are you doing this now?
Right.
Well, for me, the Mets, finishing under 500 last year, it was a thing that happened because they didn't have their key additions from this year. Let's be honest. Huge offseason for the Mets.
That
they
relief pitching needs to also
Well,
get a lot
that's
better.
also true, but I mean, I feel like this team, they're my second favorite team here in the NL East. I'll be honest with you. They'll contend a little bit here. I mean, you have to with Lindor at short.
Yeah. If these guys stay healthy, they're going to be up there.
Yeah, McCann at catcher. You got Pilar, like Francis said. You still also have Pete Alonso, first base, huge bat there.
There's
Rookie of
another
the year in
big
2019.
There's another name that we haven't mentioned from the Mets, Dom Smith.
Dom Smith. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not the guy I was thinking of.
No, well, with the DH being there last year, and I'm guessing it's not this year.
Nope,
But
gone.
that would have been a huge benefit to the Mets had they instituted the National League designated hitter, because then they could put either platoon those guys, not just
Right.
platoon, but they could have them both in the lineup at the same time.
I sort of wish
Instead,
that would have
having
carried over.
Dom Smith playing the outfield, which I mean, having his bat in the lineup is going to be great, but he's not defensively minded out there, and
Sure.
Do you wish that the DH rule was still in effect for all leagues this year?
I do, since it benefits the Mets.
I feel like it should be everywhere. Honestly, I do. I'm not a purist like some people.
I was a purist until I saw how it was benefiting the Mets and my team, and I said, okay, well, I guess
Fair
my mind
enough.
has changed on that.
Pitching staff, you still have two-time Cy Young winner Jake DeGrom. They hope Noah Syndergaard returns in June, I think, around June
he's
or
due
so.
back this summer, I believe. as long as
yeah.
everything-
DeGrom is?
Yeah.
Right?
Syndergaard,
Syndergaard?
he's recovering
Or Syndergaard,
from Tommy
yep, sorry.
John.
Yep.
So
Is,
he's
is,
been on track.
Is Cano still suspended?
He is suspended for the entire year, and the Mets
Entire year.
do not have to pay him 20-something million for this year.
Oh, that
So
works out.
That works out wonderfully.
Jeff McNeil, I think that was the guy I was thinking
Jeff
of.
McNeil.
is another
Potential
name.
batting champion.
All right,
It'd be fun to see him getting up there with batting 330 or something.
Here's a fun thing. Over-under on the Mets win total for 2021, 90.5.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I obviously would love to see over. I'm gonna go optimistic and say over, just
Over,
because if I say under,
okay. So
I'd be unhappy with myself.
the line is 90.5.
90.5, yeah.
I'm going to take the under at 90
I will
because
also
it's a 0.5. So
I will
gotta-
also take the under. Actually, the Mets haven't won more than 90 games since 06.
Oh,
But there's plenty of optimism to be had, and I understand why.
I want to
So,
be optimistic. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was using my brain, I would probably say 90 or 89, but I'm still gonna go over.
yeah.
I get it. Nobody blames you. It's
Nope.
fine. All right, last team, Washington Nationals. In 2020, they were 26-34. Some key additions. They had relief pitcher Brad Hand, which had
Thank
some
you, Cleveland.
chirping of the Twins, possibly.
Yeah,
I wanted him on the Mets.
I wanted him with the Twins.
It was announced that he had signed with the Mets. I don't know if you guys saw that a few months ago. There was a Twitter report from a Mets beat writer who was saying that there was a non-official agreement that Hand is in agreement with the Mets, and then immediately saying whoever his sources were are now saying nope, they're wrong, or somebody else said no, those sources were incorrect.
He must be friends with Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, it was like a low-level Trevor Bauer situation.
That's nuts.
And then it was a few days later, he was announced with Washington. I'm like, well, but yeah, I was excited for a few minutes there until I saw the update.
Anyway, Brad Hand and then left fielder Kyle Schwarber
from the Cubbies.
from the Cubs, starting pitcher John Lester, catcher Alex Avila, former Twin, and also first baseman Ryan Zimmerman, which they re-signed.
For his 18th year or something like
It
that.
sure feels
with the
that way.
Nats.
Him and David Wright came up together, I believe.
Oh,
So,
man.
If that
yeah.
makes you feel old.
Yeah, sure does.
'Cause I remember those two
Absolutely.
guys always being linked. I think they were, maybe high school or college teammates or something like that.
Yep.
No,
So-
it couldn't
And
be college. I think right straight from
them
high
and
school.
Michael Kadire. David Wright and Michael Kadire grew up together. I believe
Yeah,
it
they
was.
did.
Yep.
Yep.
Virginia, I believe.
So
Yep.
a definite fall from grace after winning the 19 World Series, fell back to the pack in a big way, going 26-34. They I don't know what to say about them. I think their pitching was their problem, to be honest with you.
They got off to a really slow start.
They did,
And,
they did.
and kind of like the Red Sox, they never recovered.
Yeah.
They couldn't recover from it. And I think the Nationals will be fine. I mean, Juan Soto is still. I'm seeing online comparisons to Ted Williams or a more powerful Tony Gwynn
Wow,
for
really?
Juan Soto. So I mean, I can't remember all the names from the Nationals World Championship team. Like Anthony Rendon is gone, obviously, but I like the Nationals. They're probably my third favorite team, so it's hard to.
They're a lot easier to like now that Harper's
Yeah, Harper's gone.
It
Yeah.
sort of seems that way, doesn't it? It's weird saying that pitching was the culprit for them.
relief pitching.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true. I mean,
Strasburg was out last year too.
Strasburg was out. Scherzer was hurt for a while.
Strasburg missed all but 2 starts.
wasn't he? Okay.
And
Scherzer was starting to show some age a bit.
He was, which
Not that he's a bad pitcher, and he still can strike out tons of guys.
Right.
right.
His ERA totals, not that you can really base a lot on ERA, but for those who do, it wasn't great.
Yeah,
Right.
but definitely bullpen pitching was definitely their Achilles heel. So adding Brad Hand will definitely help. You add Kyle Schwarber in the order that bolsters that a little bit.
Thumping.
Schwarber. There's a team that could use a DH just like the Mets.
Yeah.
Right. No, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Yep.
Schwarber could be there for his bat and nothing else.
Starling Castro returns to the lineup as well. Pitching wise, I feel like they're probably lined up for probably a better year.
Yeah. They'll be right there.
That's starter and bullpen depth in my opinion, and then also looking at I don't know. The Nationals are a weird team going into 2021. I don't know which way they're going to go. They've definitely improved their roster on paper. So we'll see how it translates to the field. But Washington Nationals over-under is 84.5. What do you guys think?
This might be the one I'm having the most trouble with, because I want to say over, but then I've got so many teams that are going over aside from the Marlins. It's like, well, again, like I mentioned at the AL East, some of these teams are going to have to take losses at some point. So
I'm going to say under. I think they'll hover around, 78 to 81 wins. I don't think they'll break. I don't think they'll go above 500.
I'll take the under as well, but barely.
What was the number again?
84.5.
I'll say under, but it'll be like 83.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about where I land too. So
I think they're going to get over 80 wins, but I don't think it's going to be mid-80s.
All right. Well, that's it for the NL East preview. Let's get into our division champion prediction. Francis, let's start with you.
I'm taking the Braves. I mean, like I said, they didn't do anything to hurt themselves in the offseason. Re-signing Marcell Ozuna is huge for the Braves. Yeah. I believe he was an NL MVP candidate. Duh. So, thank you, Billie Eilish. I'm taking the Braves. But I think the Mets will be nipping on their heels this year. So I'm taking the Braves.
I'll go next. I'll save Rob for last. I am also taking the Braves, but barely, for every reason that Francis just said. Ooh. But I don't know. There's something about the Mets. I feel like every word you said is true. The Braves didn't do anything that hurt themselves, but the Mets did everything they could to bolster themselves. Yep. And I'm really excited to see what the Mets are going to bring to the table this year. With that said, though, I think the Braves are the division champions, although I do think the Mets get in.
Oh, yeah. I'm with that.
Rob.
I'm going to also say the Braves, but
woo!
I'm also going to say this, that the Mets have a higher ceiling. I think if everything goes right for both teams, the Mets will have a better year than the Braves, because I think just based on if everything goes perfectly for both teams, the Mets would have a better record. But again, the Braves have been there several years and they haven't done anything to make themselves worse.
Sure.
So until that happens, you kind of have to pick the team that's been there already. But I'll also say that with the Mets having a brand new owner who, I don't know if it's been mentioned before, but I don't like the idea of just throwing money at any problem that comes up. Because historically, it's the Yankees' way. Nobody likes that.
Right.
But
it's about to be the Mets' way.
I'm not sure if it'll be the Mets' way, but it has the potential to be, because
it's currently the Dodgers' way.
From what I've read, he's wealthier than the three next wealthiest baseball owners combined.
That's nuts.
Which is crazy to think. So
that's absolutely nuts.
If there's any issue that comes up that could be resolved solely financially, they have the means to do it.
Sure.
So that always has to be in the back of the minds of any team that they're competing with.
This is what I'll say. Like you said, if everything goes right for the Mets, they'll win the division. If everything goes right for the Mets and the Braves, I agree with that. I would probably put the Mets over 100 wins. If everything goes right for them this year,
it would have to be right at 100
yeah,
wins.
100,
DeGrom getting 30-something starts, being himself.
100 to 103 wins, I think, for the Mets would be if everything goes well.
Well, there you have it, guys. Episode 2 of Baseball on the Books. We appreciate you all joining us. Man, clean sweep with the Braves on the NL East. Didn't see that going, but hey, the Mets are on the heels.
But hold on a second. Right before you go, I just want to say Trevor Bauer can take a leap.
I love it.
I worded that nicely.
No hard feelings whatsoever, right?
That's pretty good.
It's not even because of him picking the Dodgers.
It's everything that happened. It's got to be.
It's that on top of the fact that just seems like a garbage person to deal with.
I don't know. I
I'd have taken
personally
him.
think he's a national
if he was
treasure.
on the team, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'll make the best of it and root for him to do well, and would take whatever good stats he puts up,
Right.
which he's going to be just fine. I think it's still a massive overpay, but that's the Dodgers' problem, not mine. And just seeing how he interacts with people just rubs me the wrong way.
I love it. I love his Twitter account.
Yeah, his Twitter account's pretty
He
Followers
says good things. It's his followers I don't like.
That's fair.
Because
Okay, all right.
he will, if somebody upsets him on Twitter, he will send his followers after that person.
That's
It's like
fair.
just somebody saying something negative. He could block them. He could say something himself, which he sometimes does. But other times he'll say, "Hey, I got about how many thousands of followers, and they'll go take care of you." And then people start getting messages from these people for
Right.
It reminds me
Yeah.
of a certain politician in the world.
Who knows what that would be?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Not to leave things off on a negative note.
No, it's all
That's
good.
fair.
Thanks, Rob, for coming on the show
you.
tonight. It was a lot of fun. Hope you come back some other time.
Appreciate it.
Baseball's your wheelhouse. I know it. We know it, and it's a lot of fun having you here. So, thanks everybody for joining. For Francis Parkman and Rob Schnitzer, I am Jake Salter. Thanks for joining. Bye bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.